Welcome to Straight Talk with Carly Alyssa Thorne. And today I have with me Kate Emmerson. And she is known as the Quick Shift Deva. And I'm really excited to talk to her because she is full of spunk and energy. And we're going to be talking about a couple of programs she has out there, kind of her views on life. And we're also going to be talking about the movie that we are both in called The Secrets of the Keys. So the first thing I'd love to ask you, Kate, is what is your inspiration into getting into the work that you do in terms of helping clear clutter and all that? And then I love always asking this question because there's always a great story behind this. But you're called the Quick Shift Deva. So how did that come about?
Okay, so Carly, first of all, thank you so much. It's so wonderful. I'm sitting here in Johannesburg in South Africa, and it's great to be hanging out here with you. So thank you very much for that. So about 3.5 years ago, I knew that I needed to rebrand to help myself take myself up another notch and kind of grow exponentially. And I was thinking about how do I work and what do I love doing and how do I like bringing my energy to the world and how do I best show up for clients and who's attracted to me. And I realized that I'm much better at doing things in short bursts. And even the way I speak and with my hands, I have a fair amount of energy and I like to bring that and show up with that. And so I thought I don't like long, protracted relationships. But having said that, I have clients that I've worked with for 12 years, but we often do it in short bursts. I thought, right, it's about quick. And then it's about shifting and transformation. And then I love that people always say Deva, and you are one of millions that say it. And the actual pronunciation is Deva. And it's a Sanskrit word. And it is a little bit play on words because I always wear heels when I'm on stage. And I do think I'm a little bit kick-assy sometimes if I get my ego in play. But Deva actually means shining one or divine being. And I think that links to your first question because that is the essence that I really do strive to bring to the work that I do and to share with the world. And that shining one is about how do we all take our light and shine it from our hearts. And so one of the things we often have to do is let go of the clutter and let go of all the baggage so that we can all be Devas in our own world and shine our light and be the shining ones. So that's my little story around that.
It's very interesting because our American culture, the reason why I said Deva is because our American culture, that's what people see. They see the phonetics and that's what they do. Although from my yoga years and also having done some Sanskrit, that it's Deva, or, everyone pronounces it differently, and it's interesting how our culture takes words and changes them. We were talking about names earlier. So it's really, it's very interesting. I love Sanskrit. One of my most favorite words in the world is namaste, and most people have no idea what that means. I'm sure you do.
Yes, I do.
So for me,
and I'm a big
thing because, it's like, I greet the light in you and you greet the light in me. It's like we're all one, we're all interconnected, and I know you get that. So I'm really thrilled to have you on because you are like me. We talk with our hands. It's really funny lately, people I've been interviewing have a lot of that, hand motions and very burst and bubbly energy, and I absolutely love it because it makes me feel right at home. So one of the things I'd love to ask you is, I know you were talking about clearing the clutter, and I personally love Feng Shui, and I use it all the time, and I actually work with my clients on clearing mind, body, spirit, so basically all levels of clutter on so many different levels. So how do you use Feng Shui in your work, and if so, how do you apply that with your clients or explain it to them?
So I actually don't, Carly. I work sort of a lot more practically because often clients get a little bit sort of turned off by that because they think it's a little bit too spiritual, a little bit too hoo-ha. And so I work coming from my experience. So I studied industrial psychology, and then I went off on a tangent into the hospitality industry. And in my 20s, I had been to Southeast Asia, and I found my spirit side of myself. And I then went and studied professionally aromatherapy, reflexology, stress management, wellness, hands-on healing, all of that stuff. So that gave me a deep love of the body. And then obviously the industrial psychology, I also then studied life coaching. That gave me the emotional and the mental side and, not being scared to go deep with clients at that level. And then I've just always had this lifetime knack. I think when I was 7, I asked to go to boarding school. So my 2 older brothers had been sent by my parents, and I was like, hey, what about me? And I was a full-time boarder. So I literally had a black trunk that I had to have everything in for my 2 months worth of boarding school. And so I learned at a very young age that the physical order of things and everything, a home for everything and everything has a home. And then my love of travel ensured, because I was always a tortoise and had everything on my back and I carried what I needed with me. So I've always learned to that live light philosophy, and there's such a wonderful expression now about, being stuffaholics and this consumerism. So I've taken everything and I've put it all together, all my love. So I talk about body clutter, emotional or mental clutter, and then the physical clutter, the stuff that we can see, touch, and feel. And so I think my energy around it is very practical and down to earth and giving people a step-by-step process rather than letting them get overwhelmed. And in fact, I've not even studied feng shui, and I know about it. I know the principles. I love the principles, but it's not something that I've actually studied and that I apply in that way. And perhaps that's something to add to my toolbox.
So here's the interesting thing. You already are doing it in a lot of ways. It's just not labeled feng shui in your world right now and for me, I always look at things as leading without a title. Like you, I've studied aromatherapy and all those other things. And I get to the point where, and I agree with you, where people get really turned off when things are too spiritual. That is one of the things I love about the movie we're in. It is spiritual. However, it's not woo-woo spiritual. And I had this whole conversation with Carol yesterday. We were talking about spirituality and other things. And how a lot of people really do is that divide in our culture right now between woo-woo spirituality and grounded, applicable, practical spiritual practices. And I think it's really funny. I think a lot of it is how we communicate it to our clients. So when I'm talking to my clients about feng shui or decluttering, I'm not talking to them from a very spiritual kind of place. I'm talking from a very practical way. So I really think in our culture that's what's going on right now. People really do want to learn spirituality. They don't want to learn it from that place. And The Secret served a purpose. The movie The Secret was fabulous because it brought up people's attention up to spirituality. The problem with the movie The Secret was that it didn't bring the practical in. If I pray and meditate, it's going to fall in my lap, versus I can have the intention, but I have to put the actions behind it. So I'm thankful for The Secret. At the same time, I get now, I see our culture moving and shifting into teaching people spirituality from a different place, which is why I actually love you. I mean, I already seen that you've done a lot of things that I love and am involved in. And I also got that you're very practical. And the reason why I brought up feng shui, because it is an actual declutter. And I knew that you just do things very eclectically. You do things very differently.
Yeah, and I think that's the energy, because when you make it practical, people need step-by-step processes now, because we have so much information and our heads are so filled with stuff, but it's like, well, how do I do it, Kate or Carly? And sometimes people just need guiding through that process, So I go to yoga so that that is a huge cup of coffee you've got, my darling. I've just seen that on screen and people can't see it. That was so amazing.
Actually,
and I loved my yoga teacher.
It's actually not coffee. I'm going to give you a little tip because you'll actually love this and appreciate this. I start my morning with hot water with lemon and honey and stevia, and it coats your throat and it opens your lungs. I have my coffee after that. So this is a beautiful cup of nice, warm, waking up fluids.
How beautiful. So now of course, because it's evening here, it's 6 p.m. in Johannesburg, I'm going to go straight in with a story. So last year I was in Warsaw in Poland, which is an odd country to visit. And I'd actually visited it when I was 20 as well. And I have also, since my 20s, since I studied aromatherapy, I have always done hot water and lemon in the morning. That's my detox ritual, because I love to drink coffee and I love to drink wine. And that has been my detox ritual of choice for 25 years. And at the beginning of last year, before I went to Warsaw, I was in England doing a talk, and there was a nutritionist there. And he was the speaker a month after me. So I went back onto the videos a month later to go and listen to what he said, because I loved his energy. And he was making almost like green juice versions of espresso. So kind of like shots of energy without it being caffeine. And I just loved this guy. And I went back and watched his video, and he said something. I was like, what did he just say? And all the women, I could see the women that were in the audience going, what did you just say? And it was profound for me. So I have to share it because it's now my new detox routine. And I really didn't believe him. And I had to go and test it out for myself. And I no longer drink hot water and lemon. I actually drink temperature, like out of the cold tap, with one juice of lemon every morning. And I swear to goodness that literally within 20 minutes, it is flushing my system. And, I'm always willing to talk about pee and poo because those are things that people don't talk about. And it is our most practical form of letting go. And so now I no longer do hot water and lemon. It's cold water and lemon. And it has transformed my detox morning ritual. So I will just share that with you. And I really needed convincing. But after 3 days, I was like, this is my new choice.
That sounds delightful. I know instead of cold water, I've done room temperature, not warm. I've done both. I tend to like room temperature more than cold because I find the cold to be a shock. However, I do swear by lemon. Lemon and water is the most detoxifying and great way. And also most people don't realize when they go to sleep, I know we're deviating a little bit here, but you and I both love health. So, or just, anyways. So what most people don't realize is when we go to sleep, our organs are processing, dehydrating. So when you wake up, your organs are quite dehydrated. So having that, starting with those, whatever, for some people, they can't drink 8 ounces, but even if it's 6 ounces, starting your day with water and then adding the lemon really helps hydrate your body so that when you start your day, you're already not dehydrated.
No, completely, Carly. And I'm always about teaching people how to implement a new habit with something that you already have practically. And that's what I wanted to, we were going to chat about sort of small changes. And because I love coffee, that's what I do is when my kettle is boiling, that is my 3-minute gap to drink my lemon, because I know if I've made my coffee and that lemon isn't in me, I'm a goner for the day. And that's how I, put a habit that I know is good for me with a habit that I really like. And that for me makes it doable and functional and practical.
So I'd love to talk about, I know you have a couple programs, and one of them I know was for your birthday. However, I know you were telling me that now you have created a coupon for it. So I would love to hear about what is your cappuccino challenge? Because I had to use that segue. We were talking about coffee, so how can I not go to the cappuccino challenge? so let's go there.
So let me tell you how it came.
And then we'll go into other things.
Okay, so let me tell you how it came about. So I live in a beautiful suburb called Greenside, and it is called Greenside because there are the most glorious trees in this suburb, and it's a fairly flat suburb in Johannesburg, and it's an old suburb, and there's jacaranda trees, and I live what I call in a tree house. When I open up my eyes, I just look into this green canopy. And I've always done a fair amount of exercise, but I don't do yoga every day necessarily. I don't do walking every day. But one morning at the beginning of last year, I was walking through Greenside, and when I walk, it's like meditation for me. So I really was sort of in the zone, in my body. I don't take my cell phone with me. I literally just have my keys, and I just walk, and I really do use that as a time to just be. And I was soaking up this glorious day, and I was as I was walking back home, I started thinking about, it's time to have my coffee. And then this whole concept just dropped into my psyche, and I thought that is something that I do every day. Like when I detox, I'll detox from alcohol and meat, but not from coffee. And I thought, I drink coffee every day, and I thought, it's how do I link something amazing to that habit of mine? And somebody else might walk every day, or they might meditate every day. And I just came up with this concept called the cappuccino challenge. And how do I get people to think about every day when they are drinking either, their takeaway cappuccino from Starbucks or wherever it is, Vida E here in South Africa, or they're drinking their green tea or their lemon and water, or it could be their glass of champagne. And I don't care what it is, but we all do something ritualistically every day. And I thought, imagine if I could just take that concept and get someone to anchor a really amazing habit on top of that they do every day. And so this whole course just literally dropped into my psyche as I was walking up my beautiful tree-lined street. And I thought, I'm going to call it the Cappuccino Challenge. And then this course just sort of came to life, and it's been birthed into the world. And I love it. And people are literally drinking their coffee or tea or water while they are doing it. And it's just creating such an amazing community around this concept of habit and what we do and how we align two different things at the same time.
Well, the interesting thing about that concept is if people have studied NLP, neurolinguistics, neuroprogramming, or neurolinguistics programming, there's so many different ways people say that now, is that, like you said, you're anchoring. If you take something that you love and you take something maybe that you not so much love, and you actually incorporate that habit that you want to shift or change, and anchor it to something else that you do love, that the chances of you changing that habit that you want to let go of or shift is 100% higher, as far as I'm concerned, than if you attempt to do the struggle without something that anchors it, that's something that you love. So I love NLP and the anchoring, because it really does teach people that things that may not be more challenging or difficult for them, they can find ways to shift that or move that and anchor it to a really good, fuzzy, warm feeling or color or sound, or in this instance, taking a habit that you do love and anchoring it to it. So I think it's a brilliant idea. So
thank you, and it's always testimony when it's working for clients that are doing it. That's always the telltale. Like, is it actually working? It's only working if it's shifting people's lives and it's helping them create new habits. So I can have whatever concept I like in my head, but unless it's transforming someone and it's actually translating into their lives, it's just a concept that's in my head. So that's always the the metal hits the ground. What's that expression? I can't think of the expression.
The hitting the pedal to the metal.
One.
That's one of them. I mean, there's so many phrases that are amazing that are said in multitude of ways. And that's one of the things I love about, and like you talk about, you studying industrial psychology. I love psychology. I've studied all different types of psychology. And I love it because to me, the mind, our being, our person is such it's like, how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? It's such a fabulous thing. Our brains are such fabulous things. Our bodies are such fabulous things. All the things that are happening inside of it. Our spirit, just like all the consciousness, all these different things are just absolutely amazing. So one of the things, speaking of psychology and all of the human condition and human people, one of the things I'd love to ask you is, in choosing, what was your choice point or decision to do The Secrets of the Keys? What was, what gravitated you to wanting to do that?
Wow. Well, Carly, I mean, it was also just such an incredible story as to how the opportunity sort of came into my space. And so that was really part of it for me, because I'd come over to America from South Africa to come and study with Bechard. And I mean, shall I tell you the story of how I met Robin? I mean, is that relevant?
Oh, absolutely. That's fine.
Okay, so I mean, it was literally one morning I was standing outside waiting to go into this, 800 people going to this event and doors opening. And before I'd gone to America, somebody said to me, it's a concept that I work with clients, but I needed to be reminded of it myself. And they said, Kate, there's going to be a lot of people there, and not everyone that's there is going to do anything constructive with the material that they're learning. So they were just like, be mindful of being in your space. And, I know this bubble and this NLP bubble and this aura, and they were like, do what it is that you teach and be the flame rather than the moth. So that was uppermost in my mind. And so there it was. I can feel like my eyes are going up, and I'm thinking back to that morning. And I literally had a 3-minute interaction with Robin standing next to me. And it was just this amazing interaction. Our energy connected, and we did exchange cards. And I actually wasn't exchanging cards with many people. I was being mindful and not snobbish and not aloof at all, because that's not my energy. But, I can want to go and meet 800 people in a room. And so I really just contained myself to be present. And then we went off, and that was on day 2, and I never saw her again. And on day 4, on the very last segment, well, what had happened was something in between. Is on day 1, actually, somebody who was channeling angels, which is very woo-woo, looked at me and said, the person that you've come here to meet is going to find you. And I was like, wow, that's like really awesome, and I can hear that. Thank you very much. And I just held that message with me. And, some people think, well, you're a little bit crazy, Kate, but I love that about myself. I love getting messages. And so on day 4, it was the last segment for Brendan. And I remember I was quite late, and his song that plays when he's about to come on stage was already playing. And I thought, I better sit my butt down in the chair because he's about to walk out on stage. And it was so profound for me. I went and shuffled through past a few women, and I sat down. And literally, as I sat down, it's like the chair ejected me. And I was like, I don't want to be sitting here. And it was one of those weird things, because I knew he was about to come out on stage, and I just trusted. And I thought, if I'm going to move, I better move now. And I jumped up and I shuffled back past, and I thought, Kate, you better find the first chair you can find. And I half walked, half ran, and I sat down, and I was like a little bit out of breath. I was like, okay. And he literally walked out as my bum hit the chair. And I thought, okay. And about 5 minutes later, I realized that sitting directly in front of me was Robin. And she didn't know, obviously, I was behind her. And 2.5 hours later, we were all crying and hugging. We were saying goodbye. We've had 4 days together. And she turned around and she goes, oh my God, there you are. I've been looking for you for 2 days. And she hands me this DVD and she said, I wanted to ask you if you'd be in my movie. And it was just this, like, I just felt like a wash with love and energy and synergy and just being in the right place at the right time. I'd been working really hard on my brand and manifesting stuff. And it wasn't on my radar to think I'm going to be in a movie in America, but it was about just being present and about living my truth and about sharing my message. And it was profound for me, Carly. And it literally then one step after another. And when I heard what the movie was really about, when I came home and I started digesting the information, it was like, wow, this is profound and this is special. And it does take, what was the secret, and it makes it much more practical. And it was just, for me, it was I'm in, and how am I going to do it? And what do I need to do to make it happen? And it's been the most incredible journey. And I mean, from when we were there, meeting everybody, it was, when I explain it to people, I get often a little bit teary and goosebumps. And I go, it's like we are all family, and it's like we've all known each other. And I cannot even imagine when we're all going to sit there at the red carpet premiere and none of us will have seen the movie yet, and we're all going to watch it unfold with an audience and kind of go, that's what we created. And I'm now all goosebumpy because we have all helped create that, and it is going to transform people's world when they watch it. So yeah, that's my story about the movie.
I'd also love for you to share with the audience, you can't get into lots of details. However, what was your key for the movie? We all had different keys. So I'd love for you just to share the key that you had and what that meant to you.
So my key was linked very much to my message. So it was about vibration. So, and I wear my key every day.
I know.
So it's I'm about when we have.
For everyone that interviewed for the movie, my key.
Yeah, I don't take mine off. Literally, I mean, I even wear it when it's in yoga, and it's on my star chain. So I absolutely love it. So for me, the vibration was about, so it's so aligned to my message, because if we are, well, let me give you first my definition of clutter, because clutter is anything or anyone that no longer serves you. So it's like when you are holding onto that baggage and that dross and that past and whatever that gunk is in your life, it makes us heavy. And so the key of vibration was just about how do we keep thinking about being elevated in our desires, in our intention, in our energy, in our vibrancy. And then I also touched a little bit on the key of courage, but mostly I was talking about the key of vibration. And it really is just aligned to my life and my message. And I know for myself, I mean, since I came back from America, my own energy, my own vibration has felt a little bit lower. And it's that thing about lulls, and about cycles and rhythms of where we are and divine timing. And I'm so much about energy and passion. And I forget that sometimes my little body needs a rest, and it needs to rejuvenate. But it's about vibration, and it's the same thing. So I sometimes will drink a little bit too much wine, if I'm out with friends, and then the next day my energy is lower, and it's like, body clutter. So vibrancy it's also about color for me. It's everything. And I think that so often we are dull. We are dull in our approach to life. We're dull in our approach to our hearts. And I think it's almost like a worldwide problem at the moment, that we are dull and numb. And we numb out to our lives and our passion and what we want. And I so love the word courage, because it comes from the French word cœur, which means heart. And I think so often we all need to have more heart about our own lives, and live it with a little bit more vigor and passion.
I love that. So 2 things you said I absolutely love. And you're right. We all numb out in our society right now. Email, computer games, computer time, whether it be drinking, smoking, whatever someone's habits are, we tend to numb out because we don't want to feel. And I think we're just so overwhelmed, we're information overload. So we just want to find a way just to chill out and numb. The other thing I love that you said is like clutter, things that no longer serve. And one of my favorite lines, is basically remove yourself from not just things, people, places, environment. So it's everything, the people, experiences, places, all of that. Because if it's not serving, it's literally time to let go, next, move on. And you're right, it just traps you in this space where you're actually blocking your flow and abundance from coming to you. And I don't mean just abundance, I mean anything, manifesting anything gets blocked when you're still in this rut or still doing things that no longer serve you. And so that's one thing that this loves me, because it's really true. When you're attempting to let go of a habit, you have to let go of not just the thing, but you have to let go of the people, the places, the energy, the space, and make the space, make your surroundings, the people that you hang out with, that type of vibrational energy that you want to be in. So it's such a powerful statement. I actually love this. So a lot of people just think of the thing. I want to stop drinking coffee. This is the thing. They don't think of, okay, well, what are my behaviors around that, right? Who are the people that I'm around? Are they all coffee drinkers? It's a very broader statement. And I think a lot of people forget it's not just the one thing. It's everything.
And I think, Carly, I agree with you so much. And it's that thing that every single thing and person and idea is intertwined in our lives. And we cannot sort of extricate one from the other. And it's like we are whole people living whole lives. And I think it's Harv T. Eker says that how we do anything is how we do everything. And that has become something that is almost like a mantra for me, because it's so true. I think that's about our self-integrity. And I think that's one of the things with that cappuccino challenge is my attempt is to get people to spend 20 minutes a day with themselves, because that's how long it takes me to drink a cappuccino. I'm not sure about you. And boil the kettle and stuff. And it's like, if you can spend 20 minutes in that self-integrity and that personal space, you can start like being with yourself in a whole different way. Because like you were saying, emails and computers and 24/7 online, we're pulled in so many different directions and we just lose our sense of self-integrity. And I think that is one of our challenges in the world, is how do we just get back to ourself? And we all talk about selfish, and I came up with a different word, and I talk about being self-full. And just when we give that back to ourselves, we can then give to so many more people. And it's just amazing to witness people on the program, and they're saying like they'll do 3 or 4 days and then they'll fall off for a day or two. But they know there's this community and they come back, because that's the wondrous thing, is how many times do we just come back to the line that we were walking on? And I know that from yoga, so one of the practices is like standing bow, and you're standing on one leg and your leg's up behind your head, and you have to try and stand on one leg for 60 seconds, and you need strength for that, and they call it bulldog determination. And there are some days, usually if I've had wine the night before, where I can't even balance for 10 seconds, and I'm like, what's up? Like yesterday I could balance for the whole minute. And it's irrelevant, because on that day, on today, I can balance for 10 seconds. So what do I have to do? Get back in the posture. And that is self-awareness, because if I just stand there going, oh, well, I've fallen out, that's not going to serve me. It doesn't help the rest of my class also get that energy that they need from all of us being present. So you just pick up your leg and try and do it again. And that's that process of every single day. How do we build that self-esteem? How do we build those habit muscles? How do we just let our bodies know? And because we have muscle memory, but we have behavior memory, we have emotional energy, and it's like, I can get up again. And I think we all need to remember that. I can get up again.
I think that's one of the most powerful things about yoga, is when you're doing the pose, you're either going to be uncomfortable if you're just struggling, or if you just do your breathing and be present, things become easier. And it's the same thing with balance. If you're not present in that balancing moment, you're going to fall. You are going to teeter over. I love doing the one-legged poses, because it really makes you focus. It makes you go inner. It makes you be aware of your breathing. It makes you be aware of your body and your core and your muscles and all that. And it just makes you present, because if you're not present, you're going to fall. So, yeah, I love yoga just for that reason alone. It really makes you focus.
So, you know what happens for me as well is I just want to say something about ego. So if I'm in yoga, because we've got mirrors in our Bikram studio, if I let ego kick in and it comes and knocks on my shoulder, and I happen to look at anybody else going, I wonder what they're doing in that pose, that's it. I fall over, and I have such an inner chuckle. I mean, sometimes I even burst out laughing, because it's just it's like an instant slap from my own universe of going, you see, you're looking outside, not inside. So yoga for me is life.
It is. It's beautiful. I'd love for you to share with people, for example, because this is obviously a video and a podcast, and a lot of people don't think about this. Not everyone's going to see your lower third. So if you will, would you also share with everybody where they can find you, and please spell it out so that they're not, when they're listening, that they're not trying to scribble really fast.
Yes, okay. So my website is www, obviously, and then Kate, Kate, then a minus sign or a little hyphen, so not the underscore, And then my surname, Emerson, EMMERSON.com. And then on my website, that's the easiest because all the links to my social media are on my website. So I always think if I direct people to one place, then they can find me everywhere else rather than giving them too many handles and places to go.
That's a very smart way to do business instead of having, I know a lot of people have so many websites. I'm like, build one's website and then have the menus. If there are other different things and they click on it and it'll take them there. One website they can go to. It makes things a lot easier. I'd also love for you to share what would be some of your final tips or ahas you can give people on how they can possibly shift things in their life. This is so funny. Since you're in South Africa, there's like this tiny little bit of lag. So I feel like I'm just sitting here going, oops, you know, like, and it feels like there's this, it's like this weird uncomfortability because I know you're there. I can see you, but since there's such a divide, there's a little bit of a sound lag. So did you hear my last question?
So I heard some of it. I heard you say, what are your final thoughts on how people can get started? And then you went like underground.
Yeah, there was this lag. So what I was asking you, I'd love for you to share some final ahas and tips on how people can actually do some of their shifting.
Okay, so I think for me, the most important thing is to get started and to start small. So there's something called the nudge theory. And let me read you something because it's fascinating and I want to put it in the right way. So the nudge theory is by Richard Thaler. And it says we need to alter people's behavior in predictable ways without forbidding any options. And that the nudge must be easy and cheap to avoid. And nudges aren't mandates. So let me unpack that a little bit because I think it's so important. So if I'm wanting to be healthier, if I just simply keep a bottle of water on my desk, that's a nudge rather than a mandate. If I keep a bowl of fruit out on my kitchen table, that's a nudge because perhaps I'll pick up that apple when I walk past it. Whereas a mandate and trying to do too much too quickly, because that's one of the things that we do as humans, we suddenly want to change everything. And that's often our fear of failure and ego kicking in and what will others think and I need to do more and I'm not good enough, I have to change everything. So we go into that mandate, obligation, should. So if we do something like ban all junk food, that's not a nudge. And it's that concept of what if you just start small? So you start small so that you build up your I can do this muscles, and then you can slowly expand and get bigger. And it happens every time. People go, well, Kate, I've done my cycle of life and I have to change everything. And I'm going, but you can't change everything at once. And some of us can leap when we need to leap. We can jump across that canyon, but we can't all leap all the time. And every single one of us can take nano steps. And we've got to remember that those steps add up. I mean, 20 minutes a day for 30 days is 10 hours working on your life. It adds up really quickly. So it's start small and think about, sometimes it's the concept almost of underachieving. Get it under your belt. Get that kick of I've done it. And then you can go bolder and go bigger. And I think the second part that I find is really important for me, and so I offer that up to clients, is get some kind of support, whatever that support is for you, because that equals accountability. So when people come on my courses, I have an online community. For me personally, I have mastermind groups. I have coaches. We all need somewhere. And often one of the things I think that we mistakenly do, Carly, is that we will go to our beloved or our husband or our wife or our partner or even our sister. And we go to people that we expect and hope that can help us. But often they're the wrong person because sometimes they have, and I'm not talking about it a conscious sabotage, but quite often they have an invested interest in us staying the same. Because if I'm changing, my partner might suddenly get quite scared actually of, well, if Kate's changing, what does that say about me? And if Kate's changing, I might need to change. So unconsciously, they might hold us stuck in our old pattern. So go outside your comfort zone. Go and get some help that is outside your normal genre, whatever that is, and find a different bunch of ways to do that. I think that support and accountability of having somewhere or someone to go to that really has your best interests at heart. They want to see you shine your light. They want to see you step up. They want to see your highest sense of self come to fruition. And that is so vital, of having that tribe of people around you that really will build you up and nudge you along, or push you when you need pushing, or pull you when you need pulling. And so that, I think that community is vital. I know that has absolutely helped me exponentially shift my life. I can see that transition in the last 4 to 5 years from when I have been an active participant in masterminds. So it's not, don't be afraid to ask for help. That support and community is vital. So start small and get support. And I think that for me is the way to get started.
I agree that support is so vital. And those steps, baby steps, they're still steps. It's just the community. And also when you go to like a mastermind or a community, those people all have the same vested interest. So they're going to be more willing to give you feedback and tell it to you in a way that you can hear, because they also want to get feedback and want to get feedback that they can hear. So I think that is so vital. And one of the things that you said was about, if we go to friends or partners, whatever, they have the vested interest in us being the same. And the reason is because they're so afraid of us shifting. There's also this component of abandonment. Most people don't get that. Unconsciously, they're worried about being abandoned. That if you expand and grow, that you're going to leave. And it's not something they're not even consciously aware of. So it is really important to seek out groups or masterminds where that surrounding people have the same vested interest as you, where they want to change, they want to shift, they want to become whatever, a better business, a better them, whatever that is for them. So it's absolutely vital to have a community, a group that you can talk to about anything. So I really
completely.
I want to thank you so much for joining me from South Africa. It's been an absolute delight. I love your energy. You're so amazing. I'm really excited to have the movie come out. I encourage everybody to go to The Secrets of the Keys, and the actual website is www.keys, K-E-Y, and movies, movies.com, as Robin J., who's the writer and producer, has done a previous movie, so that's why it's the Key Movies with an S.com. And I encourage everyone to go watch it, and it's a beautiful self-development movie. However, it's not done in a woo way. It's a very practical, it's a beautiful storyline, and beautiful people involved. Kate, we have Brian Tracy, we have John Assaraf, we have Don Miguel Ruiz. We have some amazing people from all around the world, literally. Paris, South Africa, New Jersey. We have people from all over. So it's going to be wonderful. As everyone knows, I put together an entire blog post that has the embedded video, the embedded podcast, all of Kate's information, the movie's information. You can always find me at CarlyAlyssaThorne.com, and that's CarlyAlyssatHorne.com. And I wish you a fabulous day, and I always look forward to bringing you valuable content. Kate, thank you so much.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Carly. And I just realized that we hadn't closed a loop, because right at the beginning, we said we'd given people a coupon if they wanted to come and do the cappuccino challenge. And I'm thinking, we haven't given them that, so we must give them that. So if people go to my website and they go to my shop and they want to do the cappuccino challenge for 30 days, if you just use the coupon, and it's all in lower cases, and you just write two words, join me, and that will take you 20% off the price. So join me in lower cases. So I'm glad I remembered to close that loop. That would have been
we talked about the cappuccino, and then we got lost in the cappuccino. That's okay. I'll also make sure to put the coupon code on the website. Just do me a favor and shoot me an email, and that way, because I'm not going to remember that right now. Just shoot me an email, and I'll make sure to include it in the blog. I wish everyone a beautiful day. Have a fabulous one. Thank you so much, everyone.